Hello and welcome to Why Did I Do It? I am your host, Xolani Kupeka. As you know, this is the show where we get to talk about the difficulties and struggles that men go through. As we always say, this is not as a line of defense, or this is not a way of defense that men can use to defend their own actions, but is to raise awareness that men themselves are actually crying, that men themselves have got difficulties that they are facing in their everyday life. Now, on to today's show. Our main focus, we are focusing on the power of a man. Yes, the power of a man. Did you know that actually men have got their own power? Not necessarily the power of hands. Angikhulumi ngamandla lawo ezandla ukuthi how you can manhandle or how you can pick up particular things, but the power that is within you, the power that was granted to you by the Creator, the power that is within you, the power of how you can make things happen, the power how you can carry yourself about, the power that you can guard your family in, the power that you can actually put through your family. Yes, men do have particular power. I'm going to repeat again, not necessarily the power of your biceps and your triceps, but the power of your emotions, the power of your mind, the power that is within you. Now, as I say again, we're not talking about the physical power, but we are talking about the power that God or the Creator intended and entrusted men with. Now, I need you to understand, men and women, they all have their power, or should I say their superpower. This is what God gave each and every human being as something or as an ability that will help create a balance in nature. Because yes, if we are going to have a particular balance in nature as human beings, there are particular things that we carry inside that help us to have that balance. Now, I need you to understand that there are particular things that God has given to men themselves. Now, men have got particular things or particular strengths or traits in them that actually gives them power over everything. Now, when you exercise particular things in life, actually they allow you to relate a certain message to the next person. Now, to understand the power of a man lies, I'm just going to share just a couple of things with you. The first one that I need you to understand is that the power that is given to men, or the power that man has, is actually love. Yes, as much as it may be a weakness, but it's actually love. This is how we men were built. I need you to understand why sometimes you find that women have been struggling with a particular man. They've been trying to make them to love them and whatnot, and they've been failing. It's simply because men know when to love, and how to exercise pure love over women, or over their child, or over anything for that matter. Men have been given that ability to love. That is why sometimes as a man that is why sometimes you find a man who will tell you that, listen, I love you. And you even see it in the ways that they do things. You even see it in how they carry themselves with certain things that they love. And that is why sometimes you have had some women that said, mina ngizomtshentsha, but they failed. Why? Because the love for them was not there. Men are loving beings. In them, a man is a loving beast, if I should put it. In them, they've been given love. They've got the ability to love in a way that you can never imagine. Because when you understand that men were created to love, that is why sometimes I always say to my wife, you cannot love me the way I love you. Cannot love me more than I love you. It's wrong. Because you were not created with that power. That is not your superpower. That is me. That's what God gave me. And when we men begin to harness the love that we give to people out there, that is how we actually get to translate each and everything unto people. You see, Something that helps us as men is the ability that we can love our kids, that we can love our wives, that we can love our neighbors. Men were given that ability, and they express it in many different ways. That's why sometimes it becomes crazy, but their actions are somehow. But yes, some of those things that they do while they're trying to express their love may be impacted by certain particular things that actually happen to them in their upbringing. But the reality is that really they love you, because men are loving beings. And sometimes that's why men actually fall into trouble, because they sometimes love far too much. That is something that God has entrusted men with, and that is love. We men are capable of loving the whole nation if possible, because that's what we are given. That is why God in most cases has selected naturally to put a man above, because he knows the love that a man can have towards anybody. It's the nature of a man to love. Secondly, the second thing that God has given to a man is that God has given a man the power to provide. That is why sometimes certain things that happen, yes, as much as sizovuma ngoba yes kuyenzakala ukuthi we are living in a society where all these things are happening and all that, but the fact of the matter is, if you are a man and you are feeling at ease or right, you know, you are happy that you are not providing for your family or your kids, then there's something wrong with you. Because as a man, your pride and your power is in the fact that you can provide. You know, there's this joy that comes with a man who sometimes when they are able just to go and buy that grocery for their family, or they go and buy the clothes for their kids or something for their wives, because it's in your nature to provide. The nature of a man is like that. Men are naturally providers. In their nature, they are providers. In their nature, they provide. That is why you find that in most instances that men they find it easy to go out and spend, because it's in their nature. It's something that God has gifted us with to become natural providers. And it's something that is in us. It is a burden to all men to go out there and provide. And it's something that we are given. It is within our power. That is why sometimes you find they feel suppressed when they are trying to change certain things in different families, because they know that this is naturally me. It comes, I don't force it. It comes naturally for me to provide. Because men are providers. Thirdly, the power that comes with men is that men are protectors. We protect our families. We protect our children. We protect our wives. You know, something that a lot of people do not pay attention to, that we do not celebrate in our time. We are quick, yes, to speak about men that do wrong, but we are so slow to speak about men that do right. How many families that are out there that are living in heavily protected houses because of the husband that is in the house, who's willing to lay his life down, but nobody wants to sing praise about that? Why don't we sometimes begin to celebrate the protection that we get as families from the men that are in our lives? Yes, I'm not saying all men are perfect. But if you can realize there's something that men really love, and if they love and if they provide, they automatically protect. It's something that we are given. It's in the nature of a man to protect. It's in the nature of a man to lay their life down for their kids, to lay their life down for their wives, to lay their life down for their families. It's in the nature of a man. It's something that we love. It's something that we cherish. It's something that it's within us. The more people treat you in a particular way is the more they are creating scars in you. And the more they are creating scars in you is the more you are going to have a particular behavior, because as a human being, there's always going to be a time and a space wherein you are going to get tired and your scars are going to come out. This is a show where we focus and we are uncovering the realities and difficulties that men go through. Now, in the understanding of being a protector is that men are given that. We love protecting. Now, not only that, the other thing that men do possess within themselves is that men are territorial. And this is something that has marked a huge difference between, men that seek to provide or that seek to be part of their family members and men that actually do run away. Because as a man, you always want to mark a territory around your family members. You always need to mark a territory around your wife and your kids. That is why sometimes we always fight to give our kids our own surname. It's in our nature to be territorial. We want, if into Gweyami, it needs to be known that it's mine. Because why? It's because once I become territorial on particular things, then I get to begin to exercise the love that I need to begin to exercise. I begin to exercise the protection. I begin to exercise the provision. Why? Because it's mine. Men are territorial by nature. That is why sometimes they sometimes have, they love having this thing. Why is it that when you cheat to a man, literally they leave? It's because men in their nature, they are territorial. They don't love sharing in their nature. That's us. That's why even from a young age, it was very rare that we share toys. If he is tired, he takes his ball, it's finished. Because men are territorial in their nature. This is a show where we focus and we are uncovering the realities and difficulties that men go through. As we keep on living, as we keep on being alive, and we keep on breathing each and every day, we get to understand that times keep on changing. Times keep on changing. Dynamics keep on changing. Certain things are introduced into societies. Certain things are becoming a norm. Certain things are becoming something that is practiced on a daily basis. Then it becomes a question of, how do we then keep on with these things that God has given us, with these things that are embedded in us as human beings, as men? Because the fact of the matter is that as times are busy changing, there are certain things that are becoming normal. There are certain things that as men that we used to have and enjoy and practice each and every time are something that are slowly but surely taken away from us. But then how do we keep on doing it? How do we keep on loving? How do we keep on protecting? How do we keep on providing? How do we keep on being territorial? It's simple, by keeping to our nature. As much as everything can change, you see, one of the greatest problems that we are facing today is that as we are trying to adapt and evolve, we are then losing the nature of who we are. When we are losing or something infiltrates or diluting who we are naturally, we then begin to embrace certain things. And when we embrace certain things, we then become men that are violent. We then become men that do not understand, that have no sense of direction. It is important that as a man, you know who you are and you stand by your own values and you stand by your own true nature. And you stand by the fact that, listen, I am the man and I will continue providing. I am the man, I'll continue protecting. I am a man and I'll continue being territorial. When we practice our rare and true nature, we then are able to create a society where men have got their true power. Because right now, in the society we live in, if a man, you don't have money, nobody hears your voice. But if you can go back into those days, you'll understand that a man that showed true love and protection and being territorial on their families, those are the men that shaped the community. In our times, the people that shape the community are not those people that have the core values of a man. That is why if you find the society we live in, they've got those problems where the young boys have got no people that they look up to. Why? Because those core values of a man have been diluted. Those core values that we need to hold to as men, we have let go. We don't have time where as men we just seclude ourselves and say, listen, what can we do? How can we protect ourselves? How can we share? How can we do this as men? Because when we keep our true and core values, we are then being able to push the society into a place where there is safety. To push the society into a place. Because imagine if all men were to decide that we are going to protect our women, we are going to protect our children, we are going to protect our families. Imagine the society we live in. Because each and every man is keeping to their core values that they're in them. Because if each and every man keep into their core values, what will then happen is that even if certain things that are foreign to the values of man, they are trying to be enforced and introduced to a man, the man is able to stand and each and every day and still confess, not even by their mouth, but by their actions, that I am a man. Yes, there are particular things that are being introduced in our time, certain movements that are stripping men of their value. But as men, we can choose to remain with our core values. We can choose to remain with our core traits. We can choose to remain with our core self, with the lovingness that we have, with the protectingness that we have, with the territorialness that we have, because it's in us. And once we begin to practice that on a daily basis, we then are, as men, going to take back our position. Because right now, whether we like it or not, the society is bleeding because the men have been chopped off of their head. But if we as men, though the society or whoever or anything, any other system is trying to chop off our head, we decide to say we are going to keep it, there will be peace in the society. Because whether you like it or not, the Bible even says it itself. It says, I will strike the head, I'll strike the shepherd, and all the sheep shall scatter. In each and every family, the head is the shepherd. If you strike that head, you have scattered the whole family. If we can go back to those core values as men, definitely we will create and build a strong society. A society that will not be shaken to and fro by small situations and small things, but will create a strong system and strong structures where man can feel and still practice their core values of being man. The more people treat you in a particular way is the more they are creating scars in you. And the more they are creating scars in you is the more you are going to have a particular behavior, because as a human being, there's always going to be a time and a space wherein you are going to get tired and your scars are going to come out. This is a show where we focus and we are uncovering the realities and difficulties that men go through. Now, with an understanding of the power that has been given to man, that is granted to man, there is a greater responsibility that is put on man. A responsibility of loving, the responsibility of provision, the responsibility of protection, the responsibility of territorialness is all given to man. And those are the things that we need to harness. Those are the things that we need to look into and begin to build upon so that we can create a better society, so that we can create a strong society, so that we can make sure that the generation that comes after us finds a strong society. Because if we have a strong society, we then are going to build men that will begin to exercise that which is within them, that will begin to exercise the core values and the core traits of the man, that will begin to exercise pure love unto their families, unto their wives, unto their neighbors, because this is what God and men do possess. This is what God has entrusted men with. We are lovers naturally. Men are lovers naturally. Naturally, we as men are territorial people. Naturally, we as men are providers. Naturally, we as men are protectors. And we need to go back to our core values and embrace them and begin to exercise them. That's it for today. Catch us next week when we will be talking about another interesting topic. We could be having a guest, you never know. Owakubheka ukhathithi umasoboda umntwana uthi, peace out.